had reached out, failed to, what? Oh my gosh, I'm having technical difficulties over here. That's okay. A lot of you had reached out to have a disc profile created for you, your own personal disc profile. Does anybody here that had that disc profile created for them? I know I sent out a bunch. No. All right. Well, okay. So last week we did a little bit of work on the disc profile. Basically, it's a personality profile that allows you to really kind of zero in a little bit on the different personality types, and allows you to kind of relate to your clients in ways that maybe you didn't know were possible, even when you don't know them super well. And it really helps us being able to understand them and for them to understand us, which is kind of a cool add-on. Brittany, did you get your disc profile read last week? Brittany, can you hear me? Well, it doesn't. There it is. Okay.
I can
Brittany,
hear you now.
Did you get a disc profile done for you?
No, I didn't get the link, but I ended up just searching it on Google.
Okay. All right. Well, drop your name in the box. I'll make sure that you get it.
Okay.
Well, very good. So yeah. So anyway, that's what we did last week. We went over the disc profiles, kind of how they relate to all of us, and how we can help us relate to our clients. Really can't pull this up today. All right, well, we're going to do it off the cuff today. So we were actually going to go back a little bit and go through some basic lead gen stuff. I realized that we had a brand new crew in here today that we had from the weeks past, from the couple months that we had done a full review of how we kind of handle objections and work with clients. So I thought we would kind of go back into that a little bit. Sneha's in here from that era of us working on lead gen, but everyone else is new, so that's great. So we're going to kind of go through some of the basics of objection handling. Who has an idea of what objection handling is? Kind of tell me what your thoughts on what objection handling is and what it might look like. Not everybody at once. You're definitely going to get a lot more out of the class if you guys participate. So let me challenge you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, so objection handling, I would think being able to handle objections of people saying no to you or how to reply to them.
Pretty good, pretty good. Anyone else have any thoughts about what objection handling is, what it might be? All right. Well, Alan, that's really close. Objection handling is really finding out what's holding your client back from moving forward, and then being able to answer those questions for them. So that's exactly what objection handling is. Really good job. So let's go back a step and talk about lead generation. Does anybody have an idea of what lead generation is? Well, Brittany and Alan, you guys are the only ones with your cameras on, so I'm going to pick on you guys a little bit. Hope you don't mind. Brittany, tell me, what do you think lead generation is?
Can you hear me?
I can.
Okay. Lead generation. Does is it something that tells you like, or helps you get leads to find clients?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
That's
I
exactly
took a
what it
guess.
is, right? Yeah. So it's the process by which we go and find clients to work with, right? And so when we're going to find clients to work with, inevitably, still trying to pull this guy up. It does not want to work. I'm gonna have to reload it. All right, never mind. So don't worry about it. I had a presentation and everything. It was super fancy, but we're gonna have to go on without it. So in general, when we're looking for more business, right? And that's what all of us, we want more clients, right? We want more people to serve. And so when we're doing that, inevitably, we're going to go somewhere beyond our cousins and our aunts and our best friends and the parents of our best friends, right? At some point, we're going to have to move beyond that area to be able to find people to serve. And so when we do that, we're talking to people who don't already know us, like us, and trust us, right? And even when even if you're working your sphere, eventually you're going to get a referral from your friend who has a friend who wants to buy a house. And when that happens, it's a semi-warm lead, but in general, you don't know them and they don't know you, right? And so what this class is really meant to help you do is how to talk to people who you don't necessarily know and who don't necessarily know you, and get them through that initial phase until they're comfortable and ready to move forward with you. Okay. So there's a couple of techniques that we use when we do that, right? Some of the techniques that we use when we do that is, one is called mirroring and matching. We'll kind of talk about that in a little bit. Another one is rephrasing and reflecting. So we'll talk about that. But the first we're going to talk about is mirroring and matching. And so if you were in the DISC class last week, you know that there are different personality types. People are just different, right? Thank God for that. Some of us are loud and talkative like me. Some of them are quiet and reserved. And so being able to relate to the people that you're talking to in the way that they enjoy being with people is a big key to that puzzle. So we kind of went through this idea of when we talk about the DISC profile, the D is dominant roughly. And the I is influencers, right? Really talkative people. S's are quiet but people oriented, and C's are more low key and they are more oriented towards tasks. So give you an idea of professions: D's are politicians, I's are salesmen, S's are nurses, and C's are accountants. Right now, those are huge generalizations. I know a lot of great real estate agents that are both, that are D's or C's or S's. You can be successful as a real estate agent in any DISC profile. But I'm just kind of, if you want to think of like you're off of the TV used car salesman, that's an I. You think of like a dominant politician, that's a D. You think of a nurse, an average, that's a S, and an accountant would be a C. So what we find, and this is kind of an interesting game, Brittany, I want you to imagine that you are, so in the DISC profile, what do you think that you are? Let's start with that.
So I originally thought I was an S, I think, but it turns out I was an I and a C. No, I thought it was a C and I'm an IS.
Got it. Okay. And so when you're driving in traffic, do you find that you're really aggressive, or do you tend to let people in? Are you the let people in, or are you the speed up so they can't get in person? Which one are you?
I'm the let people in person.
Okay. All right. So I want you to imagine, so I'm the speed up so you can't get in person. Okay, so so imagine you're behind me in traffic, right? And you watch me swerving in and out of traffic. What are you going to think?
That you are a reckless driver.
That's right. I'm a jerk, right? Absolutely. Right. And so that's a great example, right? So if to someone who is an S, watching a D operate makes them uncomfortable, right? Okay. And now we'll reverse it, right? Now I'm a D and you're an S and you're letting people in. Anybody else a D when they drive? Who's a speed up so they can't get in driver? Anybody else? Don't leave me out here hanging by myself. I can't be the only one. All right. So I'm a D. Everybody's quiet
I'm
today.
us.
I'm a mixture. It depends on my mood and where I'm trying to get to.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So imagine Shalaya. Is that how I pronounce that?
Shalia.
Shalia. Okay. Apologies. So Shalia, imagine you're behind Brittany or Brittany. See, I'm getting everybody's names wrong.
No, Brittany is right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So imagine you're behind Brittany and she's letting people in and you're in a big hurry and you're trying to get where you're going, right? Shalia, how would that make you feel?
I'm gonna be screaming and beeping my horn like, "Are you kidding me? Move out the way! You move too, and move!" And I'm gonna go around all of them.
Uh-huh.
There you
the
go.
shoulder. But I'm not getting the shoulder no more. I used to get the shoulder sometimes when I get mad, but after that bad accident last week, I'm not doing the shoulder no more. But
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like so mad at her and be screaming and beeping my horn at her and licking my tongue out at her when I go past her.
Exactly. So to a D, an S being themselves can be frustrating, right? So to an S watching a D operate, you're like, that guy's a jerk. And to an S or to a D watching an S operate, they're like, oh my God, you're driving me crazy, right? So this is kind of a good example, right, of why we want to tweak the way that we interact with people to be more like them, right? So now, Brittany, I want you to imagine you're behind. So, Alan, are you a speed up or are you a let people in person?
I let people in, but sometimes I don't let them in when they're D. I don't let them in.
That's right. Trying to create some justice in the world, right? I'm with you. Okay. So Alan, I want you to imagine that you're driving and Brittany is in front of you and she's letting people in that have been waiting for forever on the side, right? I want you to tell me what's the thought that's going to go through your mind.
Probably a nice guy. Oh, and a nice lady.
Yeah, what a nice lady, right? Okay. And now, Shalia, now you're behind me, and I'm swerving in and out of traffic, and there's a traffic jam, and I pop up on the curb, and I go around some people, and I get back in. What are you gonna think?
I'm gonna say, "Oh, I'm going behind him."
That's right, right? There you go. Oh, he's got a good idea.
Or depending, I might be like, "Look at this boy, he tripping." It depends. Like it really depends on, like if I'm in a rush to get somewhere, or if I have my children in the car, I'm definitely not doing it. If I have my children in the car, my grandchildren in the car, you can forget it. I'm like driving Miss Daisy with that. But for the most part, I probably be like, "Well, I'm getting behind him."
There you go. Right. So when a D's behind a D or a D's watching another D operate, they're like, respect, right? Okay, they're making it happen. So that's really a synopsis of why we do what we do when it comes to mirroring and matching, to really understand the people that you're talking to and be able to relate to them in the way that makes the most sense for them. So when we encounter an S, we want to be our best S that we can be. When we encounter a D, we want to be the best D we can be. And it's not for any other reason except that's how they best hear you, right? I had this moment that happened to me one time when I ran into like a super D, right? Like, and we all know those are the super loud, aggressive people. And in my last job, I was a college coach, and so there was this guy who ran the what is it the equipment room, right? Like they washed the jerseys and ordered equipment for us, and he kind of ran it like his own, I don't know, like a drill sergeant, right? He would yell at you, and one day I just couldn't take it anymore, and I like yelled back at him. Finally, it taken me like 3 years, right? 3 years of being yelled at, and I finally couldn't take it anymore. I yelled back at him, and the next day he invited me out to lunch, right? Like that, like to a D, they want someone that's gonna stand up to them, be aggressive, be short back to them, right? That's how they relate to the world. That's how they understand the world. To a C, it's all about numbers, right? Like they want to know how things are going to be done. They don't care about the relationship. To an I, it's all relationship, right? They don't, it's not about the numbers. It's if I trust you, we're going with it, right? And so everybody kind of relates to the world in different ways. That's what the DISC profile was kind of meant to help you understand a little bit about yourself, but about like also how we interact with the world. Christy, did you get the results from your DISC test?
I have not.
Okay. Did you take it?
I did, but I just submitted it this morning.
Oh, okay. Well, that
I was a
makes
little
sense.
delayed. I was very eager to get it, but very busy and couldn't get to it.
No
So I
worries.
appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You got it. So one of the things that's important is to understand how you are in the world, and understand that it's got positives and negatives, right? So I'm a DI. That is my DISC profile. By nature, it makes me not as great at C and S. That's okay, but I know that my natural reaction is to continue to talk. My natural reaction is to talk fast and talk loud. That's just how I operate in the world. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I'm talking to an S, I am going to be that crazy driver in traffic to them, right? That's how I'm going to appear to them. Does that make sense? And if I'm an S and I talk kind of slow and a little quiet, and I want to talk to you about how we can help you sell your house. To a D, it's gonna drive nuts. What's your point? Tell me what's going on, right? So that's okay. There's no right or wrong way. The reality is that we can crank up our D when we have to. We can crank up our S when we have to. And that's what we're going to work a little bit today on. It's just mirroring and matching. Okay. We're going to work on how to relate to people the way that they best understand us. Okay. So in general, just remember, Ds are very quick and to the point. If you are a D, listen, you got 20 seconds. Tell me how you're going to help me sell my house. Go, right? Like that's a D. And we're going to tend to want to talk about everything. You're going to find me off on some tangent about we should get our dogs together. I love dog. Like we're going to go off on a tangent. S's are going to be a little bit softer and quieter, but also people oriented. You got to pull information out of them. And C's, it's all about the details. They don't care about it's not about the service. It's what are your numbers in this particular area, etc. Okay. So we're going to play a little game where we're going to ask a series of questions. Okay. And in this series of questions, remember, I'm just going to write down some of the D equals aggressive and short. I equals talkative and a little loud and a little distracted. S equals quiet and people oriented, and C's are quiet and numbers. Okay, so those are just a rough outline of the DISC profile. Okay, so here are we're going to talk about intro questions. Okay, and the way that we do lead generation is very different than other places that you might learn it, because it's not about scripts. So we can learn scripts, like if they say this, then I say this. If they say that, then I say this. We can learn that, but in general, it doesn't allow us to really base it off of our client, and that's what it really is, right? Like objection handling or it's just relating to our client. That's all it is in a large sense. Understanding their problems and then providing a solution, right? That's all we do when we're trying to gain clients. Because everybody we talk to, everyone is on the housing journey, right? I'm going to go off on a little rant here. Everyone is on the house owning journey. Well, not everyone, but most people, right? There are some people like, I'm going to rent forever, right? But most people want to own a house at some point in their lives, right? So something's holding them back. It might be finances, it might be credit, it might be the market, it might be a life event they want to wait for till they're able to move. It might be their parents, it might be whatever, right? There's a lot of different reasons that are holding people back. Our goal is to find out that reason and provide them some value. It's pretty simple, really, when you break it down. We as real estate agents have access to things that other people don't. You want to ask me who a good dog walker is in downtown Philly? I have 2 numbers at least. Who's a good electrician? I got it. Who's a good person to help me repair my credit? I have that. Who's a great lender? I have that. Who's a great landscaper? I got that. So we not only can, and also like, how fast are the values of homes rising in Southwest Philadelphia? I have that too. Right. So we have a lot that we can provide clients, but first we have to figure out what the problem is. What is the problem that they're facing? What is the issue that they're facing that we can help them with? And so this is just really a series of a bunch of questions that we're going to ask, where we're going to find out what is their problem, and then we're going to find out how to offer them a solution. And then we're going to do what we call a close, which is to say, great, let's meet Wednesday at 1 o'clock. I'll buy you lunch. And we'll meet at the Marathon Grill, and you can tell me more about that, and I can tell you about some solutions we have to your problem, right? That's all, that's all lead generation and objection handling really is finding your client's problem, offering them a solution they don't already have, and then offering it to them. It's kind of simple, right? And it's kind of cool because it just puts what you're doing in a different mindset. Because I think a lot of us get really wrapped up in, I don't want to bother people. I don't want to annoy anyone. I don't want to impose on my friends. I don't want to annoy my family, right? And I understand where you're coming from, right? If all you're doing is saying, hey, do you want to buy or sell a house? That is what you're doing. Right? If we're being honest, right? If you just stand out and say stand in the corner in front of your grocery store and say, hey, do you want to buy or sell a house? You're going to get some clients, but the reality is what are you providing that they can't get otherwise, right? And so really what we want to, as real estate agents, we think of value. How do I provide value to this client? And the only way to provide value that's meaningful is to understand their problem. The only way to understand their problem is to ask them questions, right? And so when we incorporate the aspects of the DISC profile in the mirroring and matching, we do it to get them to feel comfortable enough to give their problem to us. Because we're almost always really guarded about how we give up information, right? Like, Christy, what's the biggest problem in your life? Like, you don't know me. You're not going to tell me. And whatever you do tell me is going to be half the truth, right? If that, right? She's not even giving me that.
No, I would probably tell you 100% the truth. And I probably would tell you what's wrong.
Oh, well, then you're not a C. That's for sure. But that's great. So that's really what the goal is to really kind of tease out what the real problem is, right? Because when you say, Robin, do you want to buy or sell a house today? I'm like, the market's crazy, right? Now, what's really happening is that I'm afraid that if I sell my house, I might not be able to buy my house. What's really happening is I only have $25,000 in the bank, and that makes me really nervous because I have 6 kids and a mortgage, right? That's my real issue. What we have to do is get beyond the surface answer that we mostly give people, right? It's just not the right time. Well, that's nonsense. What does that mean, right? So we're going to dig until we find out the true answer, and the DISC profile is going to how we do it. So anyway, that's my side rant. I apologize. All right. So we are going to work on what we call mirroring and matching. So I'm going to put a couple questions in here, and so they're just really basic questions. It doesn't matter what kind of lead let's just say we met someone at the grocery store and they asked us about real estate. We got their number. We called them later, right? Doesn't matter. All right. So I'm going to put a number of questions in here. This is an opening statement. Hello. All right. So it was great to talk to you. Met you in the grocery store. It sounds great. It seemed like you wanted to buy a house, but you weren't quite ready to move forward. Tell me what's holding you back from buying a home, right? The next person's gonna give you an answer. Next person's gonna say it's just not a good time. Okay. The next question, what would be a good question to ask if someone says it's just not a good time?
Why isn't it a good time? What's going on that you think is not a good time? It's always a good time.
What makes it not a good time for you? Right? What makes it not a good time for you? Okay. Then the person you're talking to is gonna give their answer, and then we're gonna stop. Okay, just 4 places deep. Hello. So we're gonna do this in little pairs. It's gonna be a little game we play. Hello. Then the person's gonna say it's not a good time. Then the person that's the agent's gonna say what makes it not a good time, and then the other person's gonna give their answer. Then we're gonna stop. Okay. What we're gonna work on is not the questions. Okay, the questions are just it doesn't really matter what they say. What we're gonna work on is identifying the way that the other person is talking and mirroring it. You with me? So it's not about the words per se that you're saying, it's about matching the energy of the person that you're talking to. Okay? Now, who would like to go first? Actually, you know what? I'll go first. Shalia, I'm gonna guess you're the least shy one here. So you and I are gonna go first. Okay, you're gonna be the client. I'm gonna be the agent. We're gonna play a little game. Okay. Now, before we start, I want you to think of a DISC profile, and I want you to act that way. Okay. Do you have a DISC profile in your mind? DIS or C?
Hold on. I need to look and see what's what. Hold on 1 second.
No problem. I put a little primer here in the chat.
All right, let me check it out. Hold on 1 second. No, I don't want to do that one. All right, yeah, I'm gonna do that. All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Hey, Shalia, it was great seeing you in the grocery store. And it seemed like you were interested in moving forward and buying a house. Tell me, what's holding you back?
I'm not ready for that right now. No, I don't want to do it. I'm not doing it. No.
Got it. Tell me a little bit more. What makes it not a good time for you?
It's just not. I'm just not ready. I got other stuff I got going on more important right now. That's not a priority of mine right now.
Got it. So now the game is everybody else besides Shalia, guess Shalia's disc profile. Christy says a D. Robin? No problem. D. All right, so everybody kind of guessing some D's. Robin, what'd you think? Robin Bird, what was your, a D? Okay. So everybody thought Shalia was a D, pretty close. I'm gonna guess Shalia was an I. Shalia, which one were you?
D.
Shalia was a D.
I was
All
trying
right,
to
great.
get phone, yeah.
Trying to get me off the phone. All right. Well, everybody got it right.
I don't want to do it. Leave me alone.
I got it wrong. Yeah, that was great. Great. And so what would be anybody have a good guess at what would be so this is the game. We're going to guess Shalia's or whoever's going, guess the client's disc profile, and then also what's a good next question? Anybody have a good next question for Shalia? Christy.
I would say, Shalia, is there something that I can help you with?
Yeah, that's a great idea. We want to be direct. And the problem is for a lot of us, right, when someone's that direct with us, it makes us want to be more indirect. That's our natural progression. Oh, well, Shalia, I'm so sorry to bother you. Is there another good time to call you? That's not the answer, right? The answer is, Shalia, it's if you know, is buying a house something you want to do? Right? Just direct back to her. And if the answer is no, then you have a series of answers for no. And if the answer is yes, then we know how to proceed, right? Really good job. Okay, so we're gonna play the same game. Robin, if you're, are you ready to go, Robin? All right, we're gonna mute you there, Robin. All right, so who would like to try being an agent on this one? Who would like to try being an agent? All right, Shalia. Shalia will be an agent. All right, I'll be the client this time. Go ahead, Shalia.
Christy can go if she want to go. She raised her hand right like around the same time. If she wants to go, she can go.
It's okay, I can go after you. No worries.
Yeah, she'll go next. No worries.
All right.
All right, remember the questions? So you met me in the grocery store yesterday. Now you're calling me. Yeah, you're calling me.
Okay. Hey, Robin, it's Shalia. It was really great seeing you in the grocery store. Wait, what's the question? You seem like you're really ready to buy a house. Are you still interested?
Yeah, Shalia, I'm definitely interested. Yeah, thanks for calling.
Okay, so that's when you ask like a price point, a location, and stuff like that, or you just ask them, like I don't know, like.
It doesn't matter. So we'll go over some more questions as we go along, but the goal is to just kind of play along with me, right?
Okay. So do you have a price point or location in mind?
I do.
And what's your price point and location?
I was thinking maybe I would like to be in the Fishtown area, but I'm not really sure. I like Fishtown, but yeah, I don't really know what my budget is though.
Okay, so what do you like about Fishtown? What makes you pick Fishtown?
Great. All right.
So that way you can, like, if they tell you more, it might. Oh, maybe not Fishtown. Maybe you can go to Northern Liberties, or maybe you can go somewhere else besides Fishtown, like you have with
Got it.
different options and stuff.
And in following weeks, we're going to talk about all the right questions to ask after that. So I'm not going to leave you hanging on what the questions are, right? Because we're trying to, we ultimately want to get to someone's motivation. So we usually aim at the motivation, not the house. The house is a bit of a trap, right? We want to aim at, we want to know more about what's making them move. But that's actually, you did fine. Who has an idea of what my DISC profile was? An S, okay.
C.
Okay, Shalia thinks a C. S, S, good, good. It was an S. And S's and C's sound similar because they're both introverts, right? So they're going to sound similar. But what was the dead giveaway that I wasn't a C? Anyone?
You weren't really talking
didn't ask-
about numbers.
Wasn't talking about numbers, right? What's my price point? I don't really know my price point. That's something a C would, if they ever said that, they were lying, right? Okay. So, all right. So we're gonna play the same game. Christy, you are gonna be the agent. Brittany, are you ready to go on this one? You can't right now? Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm
I'll
at
go.
work. I can't right now.
I love that you're at work. I love that. That makes me so happy. All right.
I'll go.
Alan. All right, Carlton. Great. So Carlton, you're going to be the client. I want you to think in your mind a DISC profile, a D, I, S, or C. The primer's in the chat. Pick one, and then Christy's just going to ask you a series of questions. There's no right or wrong questions, Christy. We're not grading you on that. The goal is to try and figure out what Carlton is in the DISC profile and then match his energy. Okay. All right. Let's give it a try.
I'm sorry, who am I speaking with? Carlos, you said? What's his name?
Carlton
Carlton.
Williams.
Sorry, I can't see his name. Hi, Carlton. It's Christy from Keller Williams. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Christy, how are you?
Great. It was nice running into you at the grocery store yesterday. Were you making anything special?
No, just kind of shopping around. The refrigerator's a little empty, so I was just picking up a few things.
Oh, that's nice. So are you still interested in possibly purchasing a home?
I believe so. I'm kind of going back and forth, but my credit score is where it needs to be, and I have a nice deposit saved up, but I'm, kind of on the fence.
Right. Have you read all the great articles about the upcoming neighborhoods and all their great markets? I can send
No.
it to you so you can read what's coming along.
Okay, I appreciate it. I really haven't, I really don't go out much, so I really haven't read anything.
All right, perfect. All right, time out. Now, can everybody get everybody throw a guess in? What was the DISC profile of Carlton?
D.
Okay, I got C, I got D. Anybody else? Christy, what did you think?
C.
C. Okay. Carlton, what were you?
I was trying to be a C.
Nice. Good job. Good job. All right. So this gets a lot easier because eventually you're not thinking about the words you need to say. And so you can focus on the person that you're talking to, right? That's like a big change that's going to happen while you're in this class. That's my promise to you, is that the focus is going to stop being so much on what you need to say, which is what it should be right now, because we're all kind of new. It's going to move into what, like, more focus on Carlton to be able to match his energy. All right. Great job, Carlton. That was a great C. All right, we're gonna try it one more time. And let's go with Twain. Are you with us? Oh, can't hear you, Twain. All right. What about Alan? Alan, who would like to go? We got Alan,
Yeah, man.
and we haven't heard from Robin or Claudia or Twain. Would Robin, Claudia, or Twain like to go? All right, Alan, you got me. All right, so I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Do you want to be the client or do you want to be the agent?
I'll be the client.
Okay. All right. Hey, Alan, this is Robin Martin. I just wanted to give you a call. It was great running into you at the grocery store. It seemed like you were looking to buy a house. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Great. So tell me, what's important to you about this next house?
I just gotta have a good house that's in the market, that's not undervalued.
A good house in the market that's not undervalued. I get that. Tell me, what's motivating this change in your life? You're making a big move here, an awesome move. Tell me what's behind it.
My family, we're growing, and I just need a bigger place.
Got it. So your family is growing and you need a bigger place. I get that. I get that. Are you excited about this move?
Yeah, I'm excited, but kind of scared. I don't know about if my finance is able to keep up. But I'm just
Mhm.
working numbers right now. I want to make sure that it's a good price at a good market. And in the future, it'll just grow in value instead of declining.
I get that. You know, as stewards of our family's finances, right? It can be both exciting but scary, right? Jumping into
Mhm.
this housing market. I get that. I understand. I get that. All right. So, what do you think Alan was? Yep. I think you were a C2, Alan. What were you?
Yeah, I'm see.
I thought you were D at first. You got real quick with your answer, and it kind of threw me off. I got real quick back at you, but then you settled
Switch it up a
down.
bit.
Yeah, no problem. So this is just basically a basic exercise to kind of tune your minds into what we really want to be focusing on, which is the other person, right? The other person is the entire key to everything when it comes to getting clients, is really being in tune to them and what it is that they need. And we ask a number of questions to really help us understand what our clients need and what's important to them. And then we're going to learn how they see the world. And then we're going to give them an alternate solution, right? So Alan he's excited about buying a house, but he's a little scared to buy a house. He's not sure he has the finances to do it. What's a good thing that we could offer Alan that he might not have now?
A pre-approval.
Sure, a
Mortgage company.
conversation. Yeah, a conversation with a lender, right? And the ability to help him have some courage that the lender works for him and that doesn't have to be scary. I bought a house 4 years ago. Calling the lender is the scariest thing. That's when the rubber hits the road. That's the person that can say no, right? And so that's what we can offer him. So that's really what this whole process is for us. It's a process of identifying the needs, wants, fears of the other person that we're talking to, and then finding ways to help them to the next step. Right? That's it. It's pretty simple, but we can only do it by paying attention to them. And that's why we don't use scripts. Right? That's why we don't stay on the paper, because the paper can't help us. Only understanding the other person is really going to get us where we want to go. And the methods that you're going to learn in this class are going to allow you to be able to not only speak to any kind of person that you meet, but also in any situation, because whether you're talking to someone that you met at the grocery store, whether you're talking to a friend of a friend who introduced you with a referral, whether you're talking to a Zillow lead on the phone, whether you're cold calling expireds, it doesn't matter. The process is always the same. The only thing that changes really is the introduction sentence, right? Hey, Christy, it was really, I'm really great of you to make the time to talk with me. I got introduced to you through James, who was one of my clients, and apparently he's a really good friend of yours. And he says you're looking to buy a house. Can you tell me a little more, right? Or, hi, Christy, I saw that your home came off the market, and I was wondering if it's sold or if it was still available, right? The intro is just changes. Hey, I saw that you were selling your home. I had the home on the market, that you're selling it yourself. That's fantastic. Can you tell me a little more about it? Right? It doesn't really matter what lead we're chasing. The process is the same. We just have to learn about that person, what they're trying to accomplish, how they view the world, what problem they're facing, and then we give them a solution to their problem. If we try to solve their problem before we take the time to understand their problem, we are just used car salesmen, right? That's the difference between a realtor, a professional realtor, right, and someone that's just throwing spaghetti against the wall, right? And that's why we drive. Like, oh, I'm a scared, I just want to wait. Oh, we assume it's the market, right? But it could be because their wife is pregnant. If we give them the spiel, well, the market's great, the market's hot, this is the right time to sell, right? We're going way down the wrong path when really his wife's pregnant. He doesn't want to move until we've had the baby, right? That's great, but we have to find that out, and that's what this whole process is about. So that's what we're going to spend the next weeks on, really next couple months on, is working on how to really understand our clients, how to meet them exactly where they are, to see the way they look at the world, and to give them an alternate solution and provide value, right? Doesn't that sound better than reading scripts off a page? And that's really what we're going to do. So it's not as complicated as I'm making it sound. So, and one of the things that I love about this method is it changes our mindsets about who we are, right? We are providers of value, right? We're not trying to get people to buy or sell. I mean, we want people to buy or sell real estate with us, right? Like, we all are in this for because we want to, advance our careers. But in the end, we do that through helping people. And if we think of ourselves as providers of value, it makes that phone less heavy, right? When you have to when you're calling your cousin or your uncle or your friend from college or someone you met at the grocery store, right? Because you're calling them to provide them value. You're not calling to bother them. You're not calling them to get a commission. You're not calling them to get them to buy with you or to sell with you. You're calling them to provide value. And we use the SWs here in my office. Some will, some won't. So what? Someone's waiting, right? And that's really kind of what we do. We provide value for those that need us. And that's going to be kind of fun journey that we're going to go over the next couple of months about how exactly to do that. So thank you for joining me. I promise I will have my my slides all set for next week, but we did a really good job of really understanding the basics of why we want to know the DISC profile, how we use the DISC profile, and the beginnings of starting to be able to mirror and match the person that we're talking to and why we do it. All right. Any questions? We got 10 minutes left. Do you have any questions for me? Does anybody have a lead that they're nervous about talking to? or looking for the best way in which to talk to that lead? Yeah, Twain, absolutely. So, so we'll do this real rapid fire. Christy, I'm going to have you, if you don't mind, you're going to do a disc. We're just going to have a conversation. You're going to pick a disc profile. And then when I say stop, I'm going to try and guess it. And then we're going to go on to another disc profile. We're going to do a rapid fire. Okay, you with me? All right. Hey, Christy, it was great talking to you yesterday at the grocery store. Tell me, what's behind you wanting to buy a house?
I like to move every 5 years. I just like change.
Oh my God, you like to move every 5 years. That sounds fantastic. Change sounds great. All right, did you guys see that? So she came up, she's an I, right? You're an I, Christy?
I'm not sure yet. Yeah, currently,
Okay.
yes. Yes. Yes, I.
So, right, she came up in energy, I matched her. Did you guys see it? Did you feel it? Okay, let's try it again. Hey, Christy, that's great running into you at the grocery store. What is driving this move for you to want to buy a house?
Well, I go back and forth. I'm not really sure if it's the right time or not.
Got it. It sounds like you're not sure if it's the right time or not. Tell me, what is the right time in your mind? Right? She's an S or a C, couldn't quite tell, but you notice how I just dropped right down. Met her
I think I have a hard time dropping myself down. Like I don't know, I have a hard time, I guess. Too much energy.
For sure, for sure. And this is how I think of it. It's a service. You do it for your friends. If your friend was like, "Oh my God, my uncle died." Oh my God, your uncle died?
Oh, that's
right?
true. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's exactly. You dropped it down naturally, right? So it's just the same thing. It's just a little bit. When we're talking to strangers, it has to be purposeful. When we're talking to people we love, we do it all the time. They got a new job. Oh my God, you got a new job, because they're talking like that, right? If they're like, "Oh, my dog got hit by a car." Oh my God, your dog got hit by a car, right? We do it all the time. It's human nature, right? It's just when you do it with a stranger, it's a little more purposeful. Great question, Twain. All right. Does anybody have a lead that they're talking to? Anybody have someone that they want to be their client that isn't their client yet? Yeah, Christy, tell me about the situation.
Well, I sold my house about 6 months ago, and I wasn't really sure what neighborhood I wanted to go to, so I decided to rent a condo. So as I'm here, I realized that I would love to sell for the developer. So I have actually been sending him emails and trying to get a coffee meeting so that he just has a property, 150 units going up on Broad Street. So I'm hoping that I can get some time with him so that I could be his agent.
Fantastic. So what's your plan for when you have time with him?
My plan is we do have a previous relationship as well. One of the properties I purchased 10 years ago, he was also the developer. So I kind of just want to, tell him that I love the way that they develop their property. I understand how it works. I've lived in multiple properties, and I just think that I have what it takes to sell your properties quickly.
Okay. Can I offer a suggestion?
Yes, absolutely.
So in this idea that we're always coming from value, right? I want you to spend like 5 minutes, 10 minutes just Googling on the internet just thinking or contacting another agent and saying, what do developers need? Now we're climbing into his head, right? I know what you want, but what does he want? And of course, he wants an agent that's going to sell their homes. Yes, but what else do developers need, right?
Value, yes.
There you go, right? They need someone to scout out hey, I want to think about this area. What are the values of the homes in that area, right? This is this is way before a sale, right? but it's a way to provide value, right? So that's my suggestion for you when you go to, that's a great meet. I hope you get it. And
Me
when you do
too.
get it,
Thank you.
think about what does a developer need and how can you provide value? And if you don't know, that's a great first question to ask. Hey, I'm in this real estate industry. I'm really excited. And I was just thinking, how can I provide you some value? I'm not going to ask for your business today. I just want to sit down and how can I provide you some value? Actually, I was thinking about investing in some places in Northern Liberty, but I don't know if it's worth it. Would you mind running some comparable properties for me? Not a problem, right?
Love it.
All right, great. Anyone else have a client that they're looking to, or they're looking to talk to, but maybe a little nervous to talk to?
I'm
All
just
right,
trying
great.
to pace my test.
You're trying to page your cousin?
Pace my test. So that I can get some
Oh,
clients. Yeah,
that's a
I
good
just
place
finished
to
my
start.
classes last week, so I'm studying for next Monday. I take the test to exit school to take the certification test.
Oh,
So
that's so great.
yeah.
Yay. Well,
Can I make a suggestion
congratulations.
to you?
Sure.
I'm not sure if you had registered for the PSI practice exams on their website, but I could tell you that I failed my first time and I got a little bit frustrated. So I went on to PSI and I took all their practice exams. And then when I took it my second time, I passed with flying colors.
Thanks. I'm gonna do that.
You're
But
welcome.
I'm trying to hopefully next Monday I pass the one to be done with school and then
You know what it is? I find that the wording is very tricky. They try to
very
trick
yes.
you, but that's what with PSI, they give you tricky questions so that when you go to the test, you're already prepared of the rearranging of words.
Okay.
And
Yep.
good
Thanks.
luck.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited. Thanks so much.
You'll do it.
Gotcha.
Robin,
Yes.
Robin, I have something real quick. So, I have
The Robin
these,
to Robin connection. I love
yeah,
it. Go.
really quick. I have these, I don't, they're some type of broker. They might be working for investors or something like that, but they keep contacting me through email, um, trying to get me to provide them with buyers. And I was just kind of wondering, like, how can I go about finding buyers for these properties that they are selling?
Got it. So they're sending you emails with properties and they're asking you to find them buyers for the properties.
Yeah, they're saying that, because I sold a property in this particular neighborhood, um, they were wondering if I had any buyers who might be interested in this particular property that's similar to that, or, something like that. That's something like what the email says.
Got it. Got it. Well, I mean, I guess here's what I would do. I mean, I would maybe, okay, so you sold a house recently in an area, is that right?
Yeah, a little while ago.
Were you on the buy side or the sell side?
So,
So, I mean, you could make a connection between the other, because in showing time, you'll have a list of everybody who saw the property,
mhm,
right? And then you can connect those people with the investors if you'd like. I don't know how that serves you per se, but you certainly can make that connection so that they could talk to, but they probably have that information. This is a toughie. In general, they're just, and when you have a seller, you might have, or when you sell a home, or even when you buy a home, you have other buyers or sellers in the area. They're just kind of throwing shots in the dark to see if you have any buyers that might be interested in their property.
mhm,
But it's pretty hard to find specific buyers for specific properties unless you have a pretty big database of properties. But that's a great question.
mhm.
Twain, my uncle has a real estate commercial investing company. How do I settle in a subtle way, become his go-to agent? It's kind of hard because he's a lawyer and will know that I'm a newly licensed. The one thing is trust me, we have a good relationship. Thinking I have to connect with him on that level, but I must demonstrate commercial transaction competency. Not sure how to get that. That's a good question. Well, honestly, once again, it's about value, right? Because there's one thing that your uncle has a side real estate commercial investing company, but he's not an agent. Is that correct? All right. So what he doesn't have is the MLS, right? What he doesn't have is the MLS, and that's what you have, right? So I think what I would do is I would sit down with your uncle and be like, hey, listen, how can I help? How can I provide value for you? It's the law of the harvest. You give to get. Right, right. So, I, I think being able to have a conversation with him and hey, I'm a new agent. Well, what can I do to provide value for you? Right? Or can I come and just watch you do what you do for a day? Right? And then in the course of spending a day with him, you will begin to understand, you're going to find little ways that you can provide value. Right? Oh, he's struggling at this thing. Let me write that down. Oh, he's struggling with this thing. Let me write that down. Like ways that you can provide value to him. So if either ask him up front, how can I provide value? Or if he's not going to be forthcoming with that information, ask him if you can shadow him for a day. And then in the course of shadowing him for a day or a half day or whatever, find ways which you can insert value to him and then make that presentation. Here's what I saw. Here's how I'm able to give some value. I think a lot of times we all have this fear that we have to do 100 deals to be useful. And it's just not true. And one of the things that in our last class we were talking about is I am currently working with, I don't know, a lot. 60 clients, 55 clients currently. Now they're all at different levels of they're not all like, going out twice a week to see properties, but it's a lot. There's a level of service that I do not have the time to provide. I'm a really good agent, but I had a client say, hey, can I go out and see a property tomorrow morning? And I just scheduled something for Friday afternoon. Because he's in Jersey and I'm licensed in Jersey, but it's an hour drive away and I just can't slip that in. So I have to schedule around it. So there's a level of service that someone else that can provide that I can't, even though I've sold a bunch of houses. Does that make sense? So our value isn't always in the number of houses that we've done, right? Our value, anyway, I'll get to that in a second, Twain. But our value is in how much time we can dedicate to it. Listen, I'm going to wake up every morning and sip my coffee and look through every house in Philadelphia that came out the day before and see which ones are matches for you and send that to you by 9 a.m. I can't do that, but you could, right? So I think like when we think about our value, we're going to work on our elevator pitch, by the way, in this class. So you're going to have a pitch that you can give someone in 30 seconds or less that tells them why you're good, why they should choose to work with you. And it's going to be meaningful. We're going to dig until we find what's really why someone should work with you instead of someone else. And once you're able to do that, and you know that you're providing value to someone else, you're going to have the confidence to be able to talk to anybody, right? Because you're bringing something to the table. Sorry to go off on a rant, but Twain, you have value that you can bring to your uncle. You have to just find out what he needs and find out how you can provide that. And even if you have to go ask someone else, right? That's okay. That's what we're here for, right? So if you even have to go ask someone else, you can, and then you can go back to him. But and he's 1 year younger than you, and then you hang out. Well, that's a good point. When I meet with my friends, or like I just sold a house to I ran track at Penn, and my teammate for 3 years, but he actually hosted me on my recruiting visit when I was a senior in high school. I just sold him a house in Swedesboro for about, I don't know, $500,000. When I dealt with him, we were not friends. When we talked about business, it was about business. That's an important distinction. So it's okay to be friendly. It's okay to be friends and go out for a drink afterwards or whatever it may be. But when you are talking business, you want to be a professional in that moment, because if you not, they're not getting what they paid for, right? They're not paying for you to be their friend. They're paying for you to be for you to bring what you bring professionally to the table. So if I go to a friend's house to list, they want to list a home with me, they get my full listing presentation, right? They get my full listing presentation. They get everything. Because I don't, even I know they're going to sign it when I walk in the door. It's not the point. They deserve the whole. They deserve everything I can bring. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for today. Thanks so much, everybody, for popping on. I look forward to talking to you guys some more next week. We're going to dive into how to handle some objections, how to dig for motivation, and how to start people down the path of telling you exactly what they need. So I look forward to doing that with you guys next week. Talk to you then. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Robin.